Welcome back to the class, everyone. We are in the second week of this 3v3 season, and this always happens during 3v3, but I shouldn't be complaining. We're up against Izeta. Izeta is a really good player. We've actually known him for quite a while, both through the guild he's in. I've had a little bit of contact with, as well as he is pretty present in the Gambit server, which I am as well. There's some other servers as well, but we won't get into that. But yeah, Izeta is a really good player, and he's actually agreed and been able to really do a lot of back and forth. So this is going to be a probably more fun match on Twitch, but still a really interesting battle because we're going to be going back and forth to an extent. And he's actually even agreed to already clear my bottom wall, and I guess I'll show that immediately just to kind of do that. And this isn't so. This is streamer etiquette, and I don't love saying that because while it's really cool of Izeta to go in and clear my bottom wall so that he can now participate in watching the stream without really gaining a huge advantage because he knows what I have on the back. At the same time, like, I'm subjecting myself to someone stream sniping me all the time. So shout out to Izeta, but also no real shade. I mean, maybe a little shade if you don't do that. But anyways, so he did go ahead and clear our bottom wall. But as always, before we actually get into the meat of what we put on defense, let's go ahead and hop over to the stats. First time in a long time. So we had someone maybe a month or two ago. We had someone who had below our skill rating, but this is the first time in a very long time we've had someone exactly at our, sorry, not skill rating, but risk rating, which basically means Izeta is a perfect match for us roster-wise. I think the only thing this doesn't take into account are datacrons. Yeah, I don't think there's a metric for that quite yet. So that's not taken into account, but everything else other than datacrons in our count is supposedly equal. And there's some give and take, like I don't have Ray, but he doesn't have Starkiller, so it's not a complete one-to-one, but it's still pretty darn close. He only has 62 more relic levels than me, and I think that might just be his Ray and maybe one or two other characters that he has relicked. He does have a slightly higher, yeah, but look how close a lot of this is. Tier 6, we both have 4, we both have 32 R7s, 11 R8s, 12 R8s. Like, these are pretty similar margins across the board. Like, nothing, I mean, he has 2 more R9s, but that's nothing really super heinous. I guess I have more R1s than he does. As far as mods go, pretty clean across the board too. 7 more here, 15 more here, 6 more here. Like, these aren't big jumps on any of them. The thing where we really do have him kind of beat, and this is kind of the back and forth. He has Ray, but we have 8 GAC Omicrons. Granted, in 3v3, like, some of them aren't as important, like Dash and Zam, although Zam is one of those we have in common. It's still an advantage I have, so overall, pretty even across the board. I maybe get to complain about his datacrons later on, but we'll leave that for when it actually happens. I don't know how big of a difference it's going to make. But so yeah, this is my bottom wall. Again, the whole idea of this bottom wall is to draw out the really strong stuff so that when he gets to back, he doesn't have a chance at full clearing. Izeta very well might. And I went ahead and put this Malgus team here for 2 reasons. Number one, we have no idea what beats Malgus on any level. That being said, I didn't want to go right for the super strong team just because I feel like I could have gotten a really easy overkill with a weaker one. On top of that, he had a lot of attractive teams that I wanted to use C on for offense, and the other prime place that Malgus is going to go is with C. I'm not really too keen on doing Malix solos. I know those are a thing, but and then my back walls where really things start to get hard. So we do have JMK Cat in here with their level 9. We have our Lord Vader with his cooldown decrease. No Maul, but no comment on that. My Starkiller with his Datacron, CLS. Hanchu with Dash, and then Janet Luke with the turn meter datacron. So a pretty good grouping. Beatable, yes, definitely, but not, I mean, it's my hardest wall. And then top is just kind of the teams that are there. This datacron that rolled Mon Mothma that I'm pretty ticked about that I can't get to roll correctly, but we won't talk about that right now. And then Grievous, Hux. I mean, these are the teams that I expect to be beat. That's 25% turn meter. And then ships are the same as they always are. And as far as his defense goes, it's very balanced. There's not like a ton of things that I just look at and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do against this. Like, this is going to be pretty easily SLKR. And by easily, I mean that's an easy decision. I don't mean it's easily going to work. He does have the good Datacron with Ray, with Health Steal, with 75% more damage, turn meter. That part's not going to be very fun. Maul, I think we might be able to nest it. I'm going to need to look into that. Watt does complicate things. I think his dot pop can actually kill nest, so that I don't love that part of it. And then on top of that, he's got gas with the Stunnicron. I have no solution for this other than C. So that's not good. Malgus, also no idea what we're doing there. especially against that comp. I was thinking maybe Bad Batch, but I think the fear whenever we get them below 50% health is going to probably wreck us. Dash up here, not too threatening. Grievous, not too threatening. CLS, probably okay. I didn't even look at these datacrons yet. What do you do? Not bad, not too terrible. Also not that bad. I don't know. I don't think 25% turn meter probably ruins JTR, so that probably is really bad. And what are you? Are you 25% turn meter too? Yep. Okay, this is gonna suck. All right. I don't have teams that fast. And then we have to deal with this fun Nute team as well. So let's go ahead and get to the battles. This should be a really fun one. And here we go. So we're going to be starting off with something that is pretty familiar to us, although not 100% certain this will work because he has an R9 Ray and it's modded really well. So we take in our SLKR and we make sure to have 4 characters here because the opponent Ray, I think as we saw before, has the really high damage on her ult with her datacron, so she's going to be doing a ton of damage. We can't just use our simple Mon Mothma little hide in the shadows trick. We're going to have to bring in at least 4 characters for SLKR to be able to tank the first ult when he's not in damage immunity, because Ray does have the Hoda buff now, so this is going to hurt. I do consider briefly here going ult just to make sure we get damage immunity, but I don't think that's wise because then I'm not going to have the ult for the second, our ult for her second ult, and we're probably just host. So we commit to the clencher, and luckily Ray does her big hit, does not kill us. We have to take a few whirlwinds here. We do make a point to not use our ult because if we do, then we don't have the damage immunity for when she gets her second ult, and we really need that to survive her. And that goes with or without the datacron. SLKR has a hard time surviving Ray's ult, especially now that everyone has a really high relic, high damage Ray. So we get into our ult, we have damage immunity, she's going to go ahead and use hers, it's going to be a waste, and now there's only one thing left to do: kill her before she gets to her third one. So this isn't going too terribly, and then we just one-shot her. Nice 400,000 damage hit there. That was great. So now we have to figure out Malgus. And you have to remember, this is the very beginning, so nobody really has any idea what's going to work out of Malgus. So we immediately try Wampa, and in my head, I was like, okay, he's going to immediately apply Doubt. That's going to suck. That's going to stop turn meter and a bunch of other crap. But then we can just immediately cleanse it off like we do the dash days. Malgus' middle ability increases cooldowns. So we're able to shake it off, and then he's able to put it right back on. So we realized pretty quickly, not only is this match going to work, but Wampa just is not a good counter at all. Like, it's not a good match. And there's even other concerns, like the Malgus is immune to healing immunity, so we can never get that really going on him. And on top of that, he gets a lot of stacking damage, and he heals whenever you put a dot on him. So yeah, that didn't really work out. This match, in theory, like, I get what I was trying to do here, but we're trying to get to the Annihilate by hitting Bastila, who's the weakest, so that we can eventually annihilate Malgus. But they just end up looping us so much with the doubt and the fear and the shock. It just goes really, really poorly. And like we opened up wrong. Like they had blind, and yet we still tried to do things. And yeah, you guys can see this is really close. We lost Mandalorian's resolve, or Mandalorian's resolve, or whatever it is, on our Mando, so we can't ignore taunt to go after Bastila Fallen. And we just get to contract, and our Mando's about to take a turn here. He's up close, and Malgus just goes and hits him for kind of an unprecedented 30k hit, but I mean, Gear 12 Mando has pretty low defense, so if we had higher relics, that second attempt would have worked. And now we're just kind of we're just gonna throw crap at it to see if anything at all can stick. Luckily, their cooldowns are still down from the initial fight, so I know that Malgus isn't just gonna one-shot my Nihilus right off the board. So we're doing pretty much exactly what you think we would do. We isolate Malgus to kind of control him, increase cooldowns of everyone, decrease the cooldowns of our Nihilus, try to get as tanky as we can on our Scion, just because once Malgus gets his big hit, he's going to one-shot someone. Luckily, increasing Malgus' cooldowns definitely helps with that a lot. We do get Hell by Hatred, which is very important, because then Malgus has enough damage to just one-shot us right there. So Hell by Hatred was very helpful. That was able to tie us over for Nihilus to get the Annihilate. And even with Gear 12 Trio, they smacked him. They smacked him pretty hard. So if you have Relic Trio against these weaker Malgus comps, like the Bastila Fallen, Marauder, pretty much not Malik, probably Darth Revan as well, you're probably just going to do just fine with Traya. The reason why we didn't start with that is because ours is gear 12 and it's not very, I wasn't really sure they're going to be able to do things. I still don't know if they would have been able to tank the initial hit because he wouldn't have had his stuff on cooldown. So now we're doing this match, and as you guys can see, it's going very well. We were able to kill Talon on basic, and we were able to cold the Darth Revan right out of there. Now we just play this dance, whatever kind of dance with Malik there. We should have, that was a misplay, by the way. We should have swapped to L3. We really need to top L3's protection off the entire match, because if we don't, then Malik can just life drain her, and that can end the whole thing. So as you guys see, Malik is getting close to dying, but now he's got all this like juicy defense buffs, so that's not great. We're able to swap over this time to L3, get her protection back, get her health up with our whatchamacallit move. Just try to ability block Malik right now, because now we can stun him that he has the ability block. I think we swap. Yeah, I think we just go for the kill here. Yeah, we go over to Vader, we go for the kill. So going well, other than, you know, the fails on Malgus, and the fails on Malgus do end up sucking. Yeah, so we go ahead and take our Nest versus Maul, and this match is a little sketchy because of the exact enemy comp they have there. So Canderous has tenacity down, and he applies a lot of dots. Typically, that doesn't matter at all. The dots, when they pass Nest's turn, they apply normally. They apply one at a time, and each one of those dot hits is going to proc a little bit of protection up, or bonus protection. I think it's bonus protection. Unfortunately, with Watt there, when he goes to pop all of his dots, it doesn't count as a bunch of individual little hits. It counts as one big hit. So if we don't have a bunch of protection up, when Watt goes to use his pop the dot move, we can just die. So this is, yeah, we have to make sure that they have a bunch of hits on us. If, like I said, if this ends on the wrong turn, then we're just kind of host. Luckily, it ends in the right turn. We had a ton of bonus protection when Watt wanted to do that, so we survived it. And now, Canderous is dead, which means that tenacity down is eventually going to fall off of our Nest, and they're not going to be able to apply dots again because we have our Nest modded very high for tenacity. So now you can see tenacity down is gone, and none of the debuffs land from here on out. Not Maul's buff immunity, not Watt's dots, nothing. So this is very, very good. And there was a little fear of timeout here because the health pack is on the med pack is on Maul, but at the same time, the healing over time that Watt is putting out, it drives up our crit damage pretty high. Like I think we end up killing Maul with like a full minute or something like that. Like it doesn't end up being very close. So this is very nice, and also just a really inexpensive counter for me. Yep, minute 45 left and we kill him. So now we have to take out Gash, and my gosh, if someone knows the solution to this, I've been trying to hunt something down. What consistently kills Gas in 3v3 that isn't a Galactic Legend? Or Starkiller. Starkiller also does really well. Because I keep looking, and I hate having to do this. I hate having to use C on Gas. And I guess if I don't go for efficiency, maybe like a 2-shot's fine, but this happened multiple times now. All the counters that I've looked into, they have like a 30-20% win rate, so hard to rely on that. But yeah, so Seed goes just fine. Don't proc ults. You have a much higher chance of getting higher banners that way. We do relink Rex and 5s. They're not going to build enough damage to get through us. We do save our protection recovery for when Gas is back up. He does, I think, have a decent amount of health steal, so it takes us a minute to get him down. I think it takes us 3 hits in a row, but one of those was protection, so we got 59 banners there, so that was cool. Gets to the back wall, he has his JML with repost, so we use our JML with repost. We immediately go in, ability block everyone, luckily that lands, and now the name of the game is just call in everyone who has repost, and I'm like, we're just gonna commit. We're going to commit to just killing JML. We're not going to try to like get past him, get to the sides, and with repost, we just destroy him. And from now, it doesn't really matter what happens. Like we kind of tried to gain back banners here, but it's without like a heavy protection healer like Hoda. I guess we did have Shock, so Shock was able to get it back on herself. Yeah, we did try to trigger old Ben's heals to make the battle last longer, and it wasn't long enough. So now this is another really crucial battle. We're going to take in Fennec versus their Lord Vader. And this isn't great because we would want to have OG Mando here, but we burned OG Mando on the front wall. So this isn't the ideal comp. You really want OG Mando to really get through Roguard so you can immediately kill Thrawn and you don't have to worry about anything. Then you just kill Lord Vader rather easily. So we have to use Bam here. And Bam's okay. He's not great, but he's okay. things go well. They fracture Bam at the start, which is fine. I've seen actually a lot of videos of fracturing Fennec too, and that works. We do get their Thrawn down in about 2 hits, which was really nice. I do throw a little bit of armor shred onto their Royal Guard just so we make sure we get through him. And I mean, it's fine. We get the cooldown on our armor shred back almost immediately to get their Lord Vader down. And now they do have the cooldown decrease as well as the health steal datacron. But we're able to land about roughly 4 hits on Lord Vader in a row with Fennec, between Retribution, between the Call to Assist, her basic, etc. And we do take him down, which that ends up being a really big deal. So we're now taking JTR versus the CLS, and the CLS is really well modded and has a really good datacron. So he had a 25% turn meter datacron, so I had to take in one too. The Nubaka has a ton of tenacity, and we didn't get secret intel on JTR here. So instead of doing the hand wave, because we only had like a 25% chance to land the debuffs. It was not good. So instead of doing the hand wave, we default, this is weird, I've never done this before, to using tenacity down and getting the stun, and that pays off big. So we got tenacity down, that was going to land no matter what. But we did get the stun from R2, which was also very helpful. So from there, now that tenacity down's on him, we can just go right into the hand wave, and Nubaka's days are numbered. Like he's going down now. So we, like I said, just focus him down. We do get a good amount of exposed on him. That was very nice. We go ahead and apply the tenacity down to CLS now, so everything we use against him is going to stick, except for that stun. We do the hand wave. Yeah, I mean, the match is over essentially once Nubaka dies. So very, very good there. That battle was going to be sketchy, but that didn't have to be. So I wanted to take Nute versus this team, but again, those battles on Malgus really hurt us. Like, I burned my Django for, like, no gain. I burned a Datacron that you're going to see is going to be helpful here in a second. Yeah, not great. So we have to use this counter, which this is fine. We march on Anakin to control him, increase his cooldowns, make sure he doesn't do things, and then when we have a chance to ignore taunt, we call on Cam and just kill Qui-Gon Jinn. Which, that was what we planned on. It worked exactly that way, and now Mace is going to die a terrible death here by Ki-Adi-Mundi. So that was good. This was really dumb. So we have a Nute team to kill, and I'm like, okay, what's the most, like, this is the most expensive team that my troopers can take out as a Nute team. Like, oh, we could probably make 2 teams here. We could make, like, one with Dark and Gideon, one with Veers and Stark. This was really dumb. I did not need to do this, and I did it. Like, we were pretty sloppy in our match today, and a lot of that was because of the uncertainty of Malgus. But, like, this was preventable. This was so preventable. Their Django essentially 2-shot our Stark, which is within his normal means. Like, Django just does that. And now I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we just lose here. Like, I'm running through all the scenarios in my head. Django's in damage immunity, so can't hit him. We're not going to do enough damage to fear everyone. If we put the taunt over there, then Django gets a debuff and he gets a double tap. If we basic, we probably don't kill Newton. Even if we do, he's going to get a bonus turn, or not a bonus turn, but 100% turn meter and get extortion. Like, there's no way we win here. As soon as Stark is dead and we can't just kind of link a bunch of turns, we're just dead in the water. So yeah, just go ahead and basic there. Wasn't enough. Even if it was like that, I don't think it was going to make a huge difference. We aim for their Django there. We get the kill on the AoE, which is nice. We have to make sure the extortion doesn't control us, but again, this not enough. And then, yep, we get blown to pieces, and we keep it just because we got a kill. But this is going to suck now. The Nute's going to come back, and he's going to have his revive, and then Django as well is going to have damage immunity again. So I go ahead and take in my old trusty first order. I really just got to start doing this first. They work so stinking well. We land the 2-turn stun on Django, so now he can't do anything, which is great. And then, yeah, pretty much just loop things back around to constantly taking care of Nute over there. Make sure we get the taunt by hitting a character with the debuff with our basic. We are able to kill Nute here in a second. We do want to make sure the extortion goes off, get the 2-turn stun on Django again. And he's dead, though. So now, I mean, it's just a question of trying to get back banners, which probably isn't possible. So we just kind of try to use basics here because those have a lot of buffs, except for the stun, which also is a buff for us. Try to give turn meter back to Crew because he was closer to full percent protection than Fox was. 34. Banners are kind of whatever by now. Our opponent was attacking at the same time as us, and he was one-shotting everything. So yeah, we take in Mon Mothma versus the General Grievous here. This has been working pretty well. It is a little sketchy, you know. I would really like to have higher relic levels on my on my rebel fighters, but you know, is what it is. We're not gonna do that today. Didn't land the turn meter reduction, which was good, or was really bad, but it was okay because Kara had potency up, so she didn't immediately die, and now we're just really trying to revive before Grievous gets the kill on us. Luckily, we do get the turn meter reduction there. That was hugely important. We were able to recover pretty much all of our health and a little bit of protection, so we're prepping ourselves for the next Grievous big hit here, which is going to be coming. So Grievous goes, he knocks out our Kara. She didn't have potency up, so we don't get the revive, but luckily we have one revive bank, so we do get to get her back immediately. We get the kill on Magna now, and now it's just the lone Grievous. Just need to make sure we survive just enough so that we can take him out. So this is good. We don't have the revive banked. We didn't have potency up, so and Kara survived, which is really, really nice because we need her. We need her to take turns and, you know, call Hoth Rebel Scout to assist to get us more turn meter, but also to reduce Grievous's turn meter. So yeah, we end up making the full recovery here despite our lower relic levels. Yeah, and it just ends up working out really well. So I don't think we get quite full banners, but it gets close. At 56, we're missing one protection banner. So we burned our protection updated Kron with Wampa against Malgus, and we should have used it here. And had we had it, it would have been just enough health for that not to happen. Losing Ahsoka right out the gate really sucked, because not only is that a character that rips off taunt and generates turn meter, or sorry, not turn meter, but generates protection up, but it also annihilates one of our characters that can give protection up. So I mean, this they had a 25% turn meter. It's like a 500 speed dash effectively. So he was going to go first no matter what, but so we had to take in Bad Batch to clean up a team that we didn't do anything against, and it goes well for the most part. Their dash is faster than their IG, so he doesn't get the cleanse, and then we just try to really kill Dash, because if we can kill Dash, then they just go away, or he just goes away. Luckily, he had the locked buff immunity on him, so we were going to be able to throw our knife twice. It worked out very well for us, and now we just need to get down these other two. And I mean, Bad Batch has, even in threes, has a decent amount of damage between their true damage as well as the exposes and echoes max health damage as well. And this is kind of weird. We had to get through IG first, which the healing immunity was very helpful for that, and then Queel goes down rather easily. So now we're just we're at the very bottom of our roster. We still have to take down a handful of teams, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what is going to work against what? And I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, so the biggest threat here is Nest Tenacity down, or not Nest Tenacity down, Nest Daze, because if Nest Daze Daka, she's not going to get her turn meter, and she's not going to just keep reviving everyone for the rest of time. So we keep Nest Daze until we're out of zombies free revives, and then they get the daze, they get the stun, they leave Daka alone for a minute, and then right before she's about to get a turn, they kill her. So that wasn't fun, but luckily, Kyle Katarn, man, Kyle Katarn is so good with Jedi in threes. I really do like him. He's done a lot for me. So we're able to, this team had a 25% turn meter datacron as well, but Kyle Katarn just said no. Big hits there, and now we get to use that Gideon team that we broke our trooper team apart for, and it doesn't really go super well. Their team just gets a bunch of turn meter. They keep getting cycled back around to things. They do pretty well as far as damage goes, and I'm just trying to, I try to kill crew there, and that was a misplay. As soon as we had an opening with the taunt down, we should have gone after Fu, because if we can get food down, they stop outpacing us just a little bit, because this is not good. So we get everything down. I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and try to kill Fu over there. Let's try to daze Crew and Xylos so they don't keep getting turn meter. We do land the daze, but they rip it off one character immediately. Luckily, we are able to kill Fu, and that is really when this battle starts to, the tide of this battle starts to change. Now Crew has 2 stacks of armor shred on him, which means his defense is gone, and he's pretty much just gonna fall over as soon as we hit him. So even Dark with 2 stacks is enough. And now I have to take out Xylo. We're gonna have to deal with the same thing with Xylo that we did with Crew, where we're gonna have to get stacks of armor shred, because Xylo has stacking defense every time he takes a hit, and Dark's multiple stacks. It's not good for us. So once we do get the armor shred stacks on him, he does go down. So that was very nice. And now I think we're down to the last team, and it's a Phasma team, which is good. And we just kind of had this left over. We used Bam with Fennec, so we didn't have him to lead these two. And we burned Jango in the wrong place, so we weren't able to use Nute where we wanted to. But I'm like, the AI handles extortion so badly. Like Nute is a great defensive team, that is true, but he's still also a very, very good offensive team. The AI almost never prioritizes extortion. They always prioritize their other special abilities first. So you can get to a point where your Nute has a ludicrous amount of speed against your opponent, and we're just basically saving the extortions for when characters don't have it, and we're able to keep the team entirely extorted the entire time, and then they just die from debuffs. It is really, really cool. And Queel and IG both have a lot of decent protection recovery, so that also helps with things. We get to use Foresight up there, that's also helpful. Increase Stormtrooper or First Order Stormtroopers cooldowns, and we get very close, but he ends up dying, I think, to burning, so that was a bummer. So we get to ships, we got the full clear on ground, we get to ships, and we have to take down pretty standard Empire, Raddus, and Executor. So we take in our normal Separatist comp here. For whatever reason, our opponent did not, I don't think they were aware, I think that ended up being the consensus. They didn't put Tip in the first reinforcement slot, and even if they did, this counter has not failed us yet. Like, we've done this consistently against a very wide range of people. But yeah, as you can see, this is going very well for us. This is actually, Tip not being in the first reinforcement spot definitely made it worse, though we typically don't get 72s on that team. We did get it here, so that was cool. And now we have to go and take out their Executor. So we go and throw in our burner fleet. We're going to do what we always do. Poe's going to go first here, which is weird and fine at the same time. It doesn't really matter. We did swap out one of the characters here because we're starting to gear Raise Rex. And when we gear Raise Rex, this team doesn't die quite as quickly. So I subbed in Sith Fighter, and then we take in our Rebels. Same strategy as always, except for something really weird happened. Their Xanadu Blood is very slow, and he doesn't come out of stealth. So we're forced to go after IG first, and this makes things really risky, because if we don't get the assist here, then IG just heals back, and then we have a no gain on that. Luckily, we do get the assist, IG goes down, and they bring in Slave 1. I don't know, again, if someone wants to tell me in the chat, I don't know what the circumstance is for when Slave 1 gets called in front of Houndstooth. He did have Houndstooth in there, but I don't know if it's because Breach or Target Lock or something was out. Slave 1 got pulled in first, and that was really nice because we're able to take out Xanadu now, and we're able to call in Phoenix. We're able to take control of the board, and yeah, we're able to get Slave 1 out, and now it's pretty much just Razor Crest. Even if Houndstooth comes out now, it doesn't really matter because, you know, 5 versus 1, we're going to win that every time, especially with the Shield Disruptor. So now we have to take in Finalizer versus Raddus. And I've talked about the RNG on this fight, how it's never screwed us before. Well, today's the day. So we're going through this as normal. Try to get through the tank as soon as we can. Crit immunity is such a pain in the butt. The dodges, man, and the dodges really burned us here too. We start with Echelon. We typically don't start with Echelon. We typically bring them in later. I don't know if that's what ends up making a difference here, but yeah, another dodge there, not super great. And then we don't get back around to the cooldown I want to get back to. I want to get back around to the Dispel so we can actually crit their tank. And yeah, so the Millennium Falcon does get their big hit off, which much larger than I would have liked to got. The tank just barely hangs on. I'm like, this is not good. Like, I do not enjoy this. So we went ahead and used an AoE just because that's all it would have taken to kill the last target. We would get a little bit of damage on the rest, kind of whatever. And now I'm just like, okay, this is not good. We very well might just lose this, and this might cost us the entire match. So Shuttle hangs on there for the most part. We do just start calling in our silencer, not quite yet. I do want to get a little bit of help from on the ground. Again, we don't get enough big hits to be able to get through everyone. We go ahead and go for the stun here on Poe just because he was over 50% turn meter. Try to get the hits there on the Millennium Falcon, or at least start, you know, doing things. Big hit on Millennium Falcon, dodged. That sucks. Go ahead and mark their Sarge. Should have double basic there. I am misplaying this as well. It's just bad RNG. Sarge goes into stealth again. So this is not good. Like, this is not how I want this match to go. Luckily, we do get the Falcon down, which that's good because by this point, that pretty much means that this fleet is going to be, we're going to be able to clean it up. Like, we can come in with Thrawn and have him annihilate the ships one by one, because with only like 2 ships, they're not going to do much. And then Raddus goes and sacrifices herself, which is super cool. I enjoyed that because now it's going to be an even easier cleanup because there's no cap ship. like I said, we just kind of have to wait for Thrawn to get around to his annihilates, and those 2 ships will be gone. Even, I mean, if they make it that far, they're not exactly super tanky, and they don't have a fleet commander bonus, or capital fleet bonus, whatever that's called. Capital ship bonus, there it is. So yeah, we end up being able to take all those down, and that ends up meaning that we win the match. And this was really cool, and I think one of the things this reminded me of is how much of an advantage you kind of know to know what you're dealing with. And I think how much of a disadvantage we've been putting ourselves in a lot of matches with by always attacking first. And, you know, that's our choice. I can't really complain about that. That's a decision that I made. But Zeta was really nice, and he went ahead and cleared our front bottom wall here. He was sportsmanlike. You don't have to do that, but he did, because he could have gained a pretty significant advantage on us and left all the walls alone until he saw how we did, because he slapped us in efficiency. He one-shot every single team except that Lord Vader, including ships and top wall. So the only team he failed on was the one that held. And if he knew he had like 100 banners to spare, he could have started moving his teams around. Like, he told me what he used. He had used JMK to kill our Star Killer, and he used Fennec to go after Lord Vader. If he would have used if he used JMK here, and then maybe used 2 other type of teams to burn down Star Killer, and then with those 2 teams that he had used, you know, against Dash or against Giant Luke or whatever the other teams, like he could have maneuvered a little bit to beat us in efficiency, but because he attacked first and he chose not to use essentially an unfair advantage against us, we ended up winning. So that was cool, because that was as pretty much as close to a normal match as I can get as a streamer. So shout out to Zeta. He did really well. He was 1 team away from beating us, but I am very happy with the win. So that is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.